twins of Reddit, what's your embarrassing story involving your twins partner? My husband has an identical twin. When my husband and I got engagement photos done, Facebook automatically tagged my husband's brother in a bunch of our photos, and I posted them without realizing. I went to a funeral of a friend's father. I had no idea that the deceased had an identical twin. It felt really strange to see the guy in the coffin, sat at the front row of the church. Was going down an escalator at a casino, look across and see my brother, get the excites, and yell hey bro, start waving for his attention. Was waving to myself in a mirror. My twin did that at our work. He was walking to his car and looked in the window and saw me walking parallel to him and got excited and waved. He first was confused how I was waving at him at the same time, then realized it was just a reflection. Haha. I'm not a twin, but dated one of two twin brothers in high school. The other twin also had a girlfriend at the school. One day, someone in my class pulls me aside to nervously tell me he thinks my boyfriend is cheating on me. He was fairly new at the school and didn't know yet there were twins. It gave us all a good laugh when the story got around, and the guy was pretty relieved to hear there was no cheating going on. My girlfriend told me about a production of Twelfth Night that was able cast identical twins for the main role. At one point one of them walked off one side of the stage and the other walked on from the opposite side in a different costume seconds later. Most of the audience just thought they were doing really fast quick changes. In the version they used for the DVD, a guy in the audience near the camera very loudly said "what the fuck" when this happened. My identical twin brother, my wife, and myself all went to school together and got jobs at the same place after passing boards. Since there are some rules regarding family working together, I was not hired to the same unit as my wife, but my twin was. It was a lot of fun, taking lunches together, etc. But there was one social worker who just couldn't grasp that my brother and wife were not the married ones. She'd compliment me on how cute they were together, comment on social media how great a couple they were, even talk about how much my kids take after their dad, referring to him. It's all benign, and we laugh about it, but she really laid it on thick. I got pranked by my girlfriend, an identical twin, a few months ago. There is no point where a guy's more vulnerable than immediately after orgasm. Everything is just drained. Knowing this, my girlfriend awaited this moment one morning. Immediately after I finished, she looked up at me, took a deep sigh, and said "don't tell" her name while mimicking her sister's mannerisms. I freaked the fuck out, pulled my receding member out, and flipped out of the bed in what I can only describe as an emotional clusterfuck. It was only as I came to my senses that I noticed my girlfriend giggling helplessly. It was then that I knew that I'm dating the evil twin. My dad and uncle are twins. 2/3 times a year they'll show up to dinner, or they'll be at each other's houses wearing the exact same outfit, only different brands. At first it was funny, but now we know it just happens. People mix them up all the time. Multiple times a month they are telling people they are not the other. Haha. Acquaintances and work associates have thought they're having an affair. My dad was confronted once and had to explain to the guy, who was a couple drinks in apparently, that he's not his brother. An actual story from when they were kids. They're almost 3 years and share a room with 2 wooden frame twin beds. That Christmas they got a plastic tool chest toy set thing. My grandma says it wasn't more than 3 weeks after Christmas when she goes into their room and the beds are completely taken apart. The head and footboard bolts were removed, the slats were removed and separated. They had no idea how it happened. My grandpa called up the company handyman who put it back together. Couple days later, same exact thing, only my grandparents are pissed now. They got rid of the wood bed frames and got 2 metal cots with the springs, which lasted about a week. My grandma walks into their room and found one of the beds completely taken apart, each spring removed. The twins, though they were working together on the second cot, one of them was grabbing the fabric and pulling it to ease the tension, and the other was using the back of the plastic hammer to pry out the spring. They ended up losing tool chest privileges. I tried to date this girl from class and we were going out on dates and everything, but out of nowhere she stopped talking to me because her friend saw me with another girl, my twin sister, at the movies and thought I was playing her, but they didn't know I have a twin sister. My ex was once scrolling through FB and said, "You look really hot in this photo." It wasn't me. I've told this story before, but it's even more fitting here. My identical twin sister was dating the president of a fraternity on campus, and during one of the frat's date night events she went with her BF, and I was set up as a date for one of his brothers. Towards the end of the night I got separated from my date, and my sister's extremely drunk boyfriend put his arm around me while C's was in the bathroom. BF leaned in to kiss me. Venue was super dark, so I think it was an honest mistake, so I backed up. To set the record straight, he asked if I was down for a threesome with my own twin sister. I still feel bad for ditching my date, but shudders I had to get out of there ASAP. Hoo hoo. Dad's friend is a twin. Lives in Chicago. His twin brother lives in Boston. On the same day, both twins fell off a ladder and broke the same leg. There was a fucked up story about the twins in my country. 2 baby girls were swapped in hospital, and one twin came back home with other family. Their daughter stayed with her twin sister. Girls were completely different, but the family thought they are just not identical twins. They found out the truth when all 3 girls were in high schools. The real twins were constantly called differently, and strangers would approach them and say hi. They lived in a relatively small town, so finally some common friends organized their meeting. Although they look identical, they are completely different people. Egg. One of them likes metal music and wears black clothes. The story didn't end up well, although they sued the hospital. Both families are devastated by the whole story. Not embarrassing, but my twin sister is dating a guy that friend-zoned me. Edit, I'll add some context. I really liked this one guy. Super nice and funny and smart, and he was pretty cute too. I confessed that I liked him and got friend-zoned. It's done and he stopped talking to me after that, which totally sucked. A month later or so my sister told me about the same guy and how they both liked each other. I was pretty sad about it, not gonna lie, but they've been dating for almost 3 months now, and they're a cute couple. It's disgusting when she tells me how great they're doing, and how he is always at our house, but she's happy, so it's okay. Another edit, I'm not mad at my sister. I love her. I'm so happy she found someone that likes her for her true self and her uniqueness. Sometimes things happen, and it can suck, but that's just how life is, y'all. I was with my twin brother at the supermarket this one time, and judging from this story I'm guessing that obviously we look the same from the back, but not exactly the front, because I'm a female. My brother's girlfriend was shopping at the same store as us that day, and comes up behind me and smacks my bottom saying "Hey love." Jokingly I turn around and say it back. The look on her face made me regret what I did. Only tangentially related to topic, but I feel like sharing. On my last day as manager of a restaurant, a new girl was hired. I continued to drink there, and she and I got to know each other a little. Mostly just drink and smoke. Gave her a ride here and there. Texted and such. Went on for a year. Then I started seeing her fairly frequently at a new place. She'd always hug me and seemed genuinely happy to see me. It was nice. I could feel real affection in her hugs. One day I saw her and everything seemed like usual, but I didn't feel anything when we hugged. I was confused, but I figured maybe it was my imagination, since I hadn't done anything wrong. TBH, it really bothered me. I thought about it all week. Then the next week I saw her with her identical twin. I was surprised and very relieved. Turns out it happens all the time and her sister plays along, as if she knows me, because it's faster than explaining. TL. Doctor, I can't visually tell the difference between identical twins, but I can tell the difference between sincere and insincere hugs. Also, now that I know, even though they appear identical, it's easy to tell the difference. This story is so prime, and I'm so excited to tell it. I used to do musicals. Like singing dancing musicals. My brother came to a performance and was at the greeting line afterwards. He goes up to the lead actress in the show and says "Great job, congrats, what a show, to which she responds, oh I wasn't in the show, actually it was my twin sister. But you were fantastic, to which my twin brother says I wasn't in the show either, and that's when the actual lead actress and I walk up wondering why they both look so damn confused. I've been laughing about it for years. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Now I can say I've gotten an award for answering wrongly after misreading a prompt. Had a gold. Edit. Were gold. For the occasion I can admit, the lead actress and I were having a secret affair. My mom is an identical twin. She and her sister were always dressed alike and hated it, so one year for Halloween my grandpa took my mom costume shopping and my grandma took my aunt. When they got home they were so excited to show each other their costumes, but when they came out of their room they were wearing the same thing. My grandma and her sister were twins. Her sister was going to be a nun, so couldn't be involved in any affairs. Some guy asked the sister out, who sent my grandma in her place, tasked with ending the date poorly. I'd like to say there's a funny ending, that the guy's my granddad, but he's not. He's just some random dude. I'm not a twin, but my mum and aunt are identical twins. As they've gotten older I think they are more distinguishable, but from behind most people think they look exactly the same. My aunt and uncle were round for dinner and my aunt was in the kitchen preparing some food when my stepdad came in, hugged my aunt from behind, and kissed her neck. All my aunt said was wrong sister. Everyone thought it was hilarious, but my stepdad was very apologetic and embarrassed for a long time. LMAO. Edit. Wow, thanks very much to the person who gave me silver. I was very surprised to just wake up and see all the comments on this. I thought it was a pretty common thing that happens and wouldn't get too much attention. I told my stepdad about how many people commented and liked this, and he was extremely embarrassed all over again. But my mum and I had a good laugh about it. He said that the reason he thought it was my mum was that my mum and aunt had the same haircut at the time and my aunt had put on my mum's jumper. Take what you will from that. LMAO. My twin and I went shopping for eyeglasses. We were in a store that had multiple massive rooms filled with different brands of eyeglasses. We spent roughly 3 hours picking our ideal frames, independently of each other. We sit down to pay, and the teller says, oh that's so awesome, you chose the same pair, and sure enough, it was our identical model, one in white, one in silver, out of thousands of lenses. We have more similar stories, but this is one that stands out. Not a twin, but I had a pair of teachers at my middle school who were identical twins. They tended to dress similarly, and I spent a lot of time confused as to how they could move around the school so quickly until someone told me there were 2 of them, and that they were twins. This was right before one of them got pregnant though, so I would have figured it out eventually. Not a twin. Dated a twin on and off for a while. In middle school, I would get a call from my boyfriend. We'd chat for a bit, and then he'd have to go, so his brother could have his phone time. These were the days before cell phones. Then we'd hang up, and I'd get another phone call a minute later from my boyfriend. Turns out the first call was from his twin brother. Boyfriend would get pissed. He tried that a few more times. Then I learned to tell their voices apart. Edit. Thanks for my first silver. I fancied a twin in high school and couldn't realize why in one class she spoke to me yet in another didn't know what the fuck I was on about. It took me 4 months and just bumping into them both on the walk home, and I literally went, there's 2 of you. My college roommate did this to me for months. I'd run into him on campus, tell him something, and he'd never remember talking about it. Came home and there he was with his identical twin brother who lived in another dorm hanging out. Never said a word about having a brother or a twin. They thought it was hilarious, while I beginning to think I was imagining these conversations.